Hello, I'm Sue Mnemonic and welcome to another episode of The Tea Drinker. Today we are going to look at teas from the Marks and Spencer's The Collection range. So we're going to be having a look at the Fruit and Herbal Infusion selection, which is the mulled fruit, the zesty spiced orange and soothing chocolate and peppermint. And the tea selection, which is rich Kenyan morning tea, Ceylon Afternoon Tea and Jasmine green evening tea. So we've got like a day's worth of tea there. They're all single estate teas. And so we're going to have a look at them. We're going to try them out. We're going to taste them. And let's see if they're any good. So I like the sort of this one. We can just get it undone because it kind of looks like a little drawer. So you open it up and it's got the tea bags in there. So it's kind of nice. And of course, you sort of recycle that. You can use it for other things. And this one's quite good as well. They are quite, ooh, look, see, that's quite exciting looking. So this is what they look like when they're out of the box. You see the Kenyan has a red packaging, the Jasmine has green packaging, and the Ceylon is kind of a gold colour. They're all very different. Now the fruit infusions, they're all in sort of pyramid bags. But I tell you something, the smell coming off them is absolutely delicious. The mulled fruit is sort of really it's sort of sweet and Christmassy. The spiced orange as well is very sort of citrusy, but also quite spicy. And the peppermint and chocolate, cocoa nibs, cocoa husks rather. It's very sort of chocolatey and very pepperminty. It's very strong aroma. So we're going to brew up and we're going to see what they look like essentially before going on to the taste test. Okay, we've been steeping the teas for about 5 minutes now, just to get them to a really fuller flavour. And as you can see, there's a variety of colour. The Kenyan is a sort of very, very dark brown. The Ceylon tea is a dark reddish colour. And the Jasmine, which is a green tea, is a sort of dark yellow, green, slightly brown colour as well. And on the other side, the mulled fruit is a sort of reddish brown colour. The spiced orange is a slightly lighter reddish colour, almost orangey, dark orange colour. And as befits a peppermint or mint tea mix, it's actually quite dark. There's a lovely aroma coming from the fruit and herbal infusions, especially the spiced orange. It kind of sounds like an OP Tic Tac. That's the sort of really citrusy smell coming from that. So let's get to the tasting. But first of all, I'm just going to tell you what's in the fruit infusions. So the mulled fruit infusions has hibiscus, rosehip, dried apples, dried orange peel, cassia bark, ginger, cloves, cranberry flavouring, clementine flavouring and dried cranberries. The cocoa husks and mint infusions has cocoa husks, peppermint, spearmint and peppermint extract. So it's not just peppermint, it has spearmint as well, which is a slightly sweeter taste. And the spiced orange infusion has white hibiscus, rosehip, dried apples, cassia bark, orange flavouring, hibiscus, cloves, dried orange peel and dried chicory. Now chicory used to be a coffee substitute, so I don't know how that's going to affect the flavour. because I'm not particularly fond of coffee. As for the teas, oh, hang on. As for the teas, that's basically it. They're just a tea. That's just it, really. Okay, so let's get to the tasting, which is always my favourite part of the video, and see how they fare against the other teas I've tried in the past. Okay, so we're going to start with the single origin Kenya tea, which of course all these teas are traded in compliance with fair trade. So it's a very sort of dark brown colour. It's a very sort of earthy, slightly fruity scent to it. Very strong, almost cocoa scent to it. I'm going to give this a taste. It's slightly, yeah, earthy cocoa, not like chocolate, I mean like the raw cocoa taste. Very punchy, very strong on the tongue, but quite smooth. It's not overwhelmingly strong, it's not too bitter. It goes down very smoothly, it doesn't dry out the mouth very much. It is a breakfast tea. So it does have the punch of a breakfast tea. Very good. Very pleasant. Not too strong, but strong enough to give you a little bit of a kick. And now we're going on to the Ceylon tea, which is an afternoon blend. So hopefully this is going to be quite a mellow one, because Ceylon teas do tend to be quite mellow. They're not as strong as something like the Kenyan tea or the Earl Grey teas or things like that. So it's quite light, little bit of bitterness there. Nothing too astringent, doesn't dry out the tongue. It's not as light as I thought it would be, but it is a lot lighter than the Kenyan tea. It's not so punchy. It's very flavourful. This is a good cup of tea. This is a good afternoon tea, which is what it's marketed as. A little, yeah, it's a little too bitter, but very, very good cup of tea, this. Nice colour, nice aroma, very good taste. And last of all is the Jasmine green tea, which is an evening tea. So it's a sort of to settle and soothe. Instantly, the lovely, strong floral taste that you, floral scent rather, that you get with a jasmine tea. Lovely, just hits the nostrils straight away, and it sets you sort of alive. It's a beautiful aroma. Let's give it a taste. It's quite sharp. You get a very sort of impact of the jasmine straight down your mouth. Very floral. You couldn't really mistake that. It is a little bitter because it's a jasmine tea. Now this is it's an evening tea, and it's supposed to be sort of a settling tea, but I think maybe if the Ceylon and the jasmine tea, this is more of a sort of post-lunch time sort of pick-me-up tea, I think. This is, so maybe if you swap the Ceylon and the jasmine tea around, that would make more sense. But having said that, it's floral, it's it's a jasmine tea. It's floral, it's wonderfully smooth. It's a little bit bitter because of the green tea, obviously. And it is quite strong. It's strong on the palate, but it's smooth going down. But that's not to say it's not a good cup of tea. Okay, so now we're moving on to the fruit and herbal infusions from the collection range. We're going to start with the mulled fruit, which is kind of appropriate for the season because we're sort of moving into winter now, and sort of Christmas is coming up. We're kind of in the run up now to Christmas. Deliciously fruity. Deliciously fruity, hint of spice. The spice isn't overwhelming. It's a beautiful sort of dark red, almost purple colour. It's very sort of wintry and Christmassy. So let's give it a taste. Oh, it's quite sharp and fruity. It's sharp and it's fruity, and you taste like cranberries in it. It definitely, there's a strong hint of cranberries, and you can get some apple, and there's a spiciness to it. Nothing's over dominating. The fruit and the spices are combining really well. Oh, it's really lovely. It's a good sort of substitute for mulled wine if like me you don't actually drink. So that's absolutely lovely. Sharp and fruity and spicy without sort of anything dominating. So that's a really good infusion. I really like this. Okay, the next one is the spiced orange. It's a very strong orangey scent. Like I said earlier, it sounds like somebody overpowered a Tic Tac. That's not to its detriment. I love that sort of very strong orangey scent, but I'm worried it might come across as a bit too synthetic. So I'm going to give this a try. It's quite sharp and citrusy. Not really getting any sort of spice at the moment. I'm just getting a very strong, sharp, tart, citrusy hit of the orange. It's not really sweet. If you're looking for a sweet orange taste, this is not really, I think, for you. But this is quite tart. It's almost... Oh, the sourness. It is very sort of, it's quite sour, very orangey, punchy, citrusy, but I'm not getting the spice coming through. There should be some spice coming through, and all I'm getting is this overwhelming oranginess. I know it shouldn't be so detrimental, but I'm not getting the hints of spice that I'd really like from this concoction. So, but it's not to say it's very warming, it's very orangey, it's very nice. But if I was looking for something a bit spicy and fruity, I'd definitely go more with the mulled fruit than with the spiced orange. Okay, last of all we have the peppermint and cocoa husks. Well, it's not peppermint, it's got spearmint as well. So it's quite, there's almost a coffee scent to it. Because I read it had chicory in it, so there is slightly a coffee scent to it. It's like sort of a menthol coffee brew. I'm wary of coffee, so, but it's also that sort of chocolatey, sort of after eight aroma, a sort of minty, chocolatey-ness to it. So let's give it a taste. It's quite coffee-like, yeah. I say this as someone who doesn't like coffee. It's if this was a coffee, it would be a coffee I could drink. But it's still sufficiently tea-like that I can drink it. The chocolate and the mint are very sort of subtle, rather. I'm sort of getting this overwhelming coffee-like taste from it. I'm beginning to get a bit more sort of peppermint now. The sort of minty taste. And like all peppermint brews, it's not oily. Doesn't leave that sort of oily sensation in your mouth like a lot of peppermint teas do, which kind of ruins the experience of drinking a peppermint tea for me. But there is that overwhelming coffee-ness to it, which I don't personally like. But it's not so sufficiently overwhelming that I wouldn't, drink it again. Maybe if I was going for sort of after dinner, and instead of having after dinner coffee, I'd have that instead, because it sort of combines the sort of after dinner mints and the sort of coffee taste into one package. So yes, so I'd say from the two different collections from the teas, I'd say, with great difficulty I might add, that the Kenyan was my favourite. So the Kenyan tea was definitely my favourite from the tea collection. Maybe if the Ceylon and the Jasmine teas were swapped around, so the Ceylon became the evening tea and the Jasmine became the afternoon tea, maybe I'd have a sort of different expectation, but very good. From the fruit and herbal selection, definitely the mulled fruit infusion was my favourite. The spiced orange fell down because it wasn't too spicy, and the peppermint and cocoa husk, bit too coffee-like, not enough sort of peppermint and chocolate taste for me. So I do recommend both selections because people, they have different tastes. That's just my opinion. I think, I'm not entirely sure, but I think they're only available for the sort of Christmas period. So if you want to go out and get them now, I'll provide links down below. I think they're available from any branch of Marks and Spencer's that has a food hall. I got them in Oxford Street. So I'll put links down below so you can get it off the internet or wherever. So I've been Cinnamonic. This has been the Tea Drinker. I will see you in the next video, and thank you very much.